Alright, we're going to be discussing on how to weld copper piping. You're going to need your two stubs, a coupling. This is a 90-degree elbow, half an inch. Got to make sure it fits all right. You're going to need a fork. Fork is very important, keep that in mind. Acid brush, flux, solder, and where's my sandpaper? Sandpaper, and most importantly, the blowtorch. Alright, so practically the first step is you rip off a piece of sandpaper and you start sanding the edges. Just clean it, make sure everything adheres. It has a kind of like a vein effect to the copper when you're soldering. Make sure everything's nice and clean. Usually when you have unused copper, it has a brighter tone to it. And then you sand the interior part of your coupling on the insides. And you will be able to tell the difference between a sanded and non-sanded inside cup. See the sanded cup, you see the abrasive, and then the smooth. What you don't want is a smooth because nothing will adhere to it. So you keep sanding both sides. Alright, and now after that's said and done, you take your flux and you apply it. You want to go with a light coat. Most people tend to go with heavy coat and then it ends up melting all over the place. So what you want to do is go with a really light coat. Once you sand the area and clean it, you might want to not touch it with your fingers, barehanded. Most people don't apply the flux to the inside of the coupling, but all the guys that I've talked to apparently like to do it, so I'm going to do it. Alright. So after the flux is set, you pretty much enter your pipes into the coupling, make sure it's a nice snug fit. Same thing for the other side. And you're set. You're ready to solder. What I like to do is extend out my solder a few inches, just like that. It adds better mobility to it, like this. It's easier range. Alright. So now that we're ready to weld, practically you ignite. And what I like to do is start from the bottom. So pretty much start from back here, heating up the coupling, the bottom part. Once it gets to a certain temperature, it'll start actually being able to solder. Usually the solder, once heated to a proper temperature, you can tell that the solder is ready because it starts to write on the copper. If it would start writing on the copper. Well, let's let it heat up to temperature then. You notice the color change? There it is. So practically what you want to do is go underneath and you should see it absorb inside to the piping. As soon as that happens, what you want to do is clean it up, take a moist rag and just go all the way around it. It'll prevent drippage. Okay. Keep on applying more solder to that. As you can see, the weld is not faring too well, but it'll get the job done. Then you could go for the other side and solder. You see how it applies itself to all the way around it? It's kind of a sloppy job, but gets the job done nonetheless. Clean up. Some people say that applying a wet towel to it will crack the joints or the solder joint, but it's all dependent on pretty much how you want to view it. For added cleaning measures, you can add sandpaper to it. That's pretty much it. There you go. You have a clean weld. Nothing.